Hi everyone. I wanted to make this video about the murder of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman. I must confess, after reading a dozen articles and watching several mainstream news broadcasts, what really happened that night is still partially a mystery to me. But whatever happened, the facts are clear. Zimmerman called Martin a coon. Zimmerman was stalking and following Martin even after the 911 dispatcher tells him they don't need him to do that. Zimmerman was armed with a loaded firearm. Martin had no weapons. Martin was not breaking any laws. And Martin ends up dead while George Zimmerman is basically unharmed and is sent home after police questioning. Now, this far, I understand all the frustration and feeling of injustice among African Americans. Is George Zimmerman racist towards black people? Maybe. Did Zimmerman murder Martin because of his skin color? Could be. So it is only natural that the black community is enraged that this racist neighborhood watchman murders a black teen and walks away, right? Yes, it is only natural, and I agree this murder is very likely to be racial. But I wanted to highlight a very important aspect of this dramatic story, because I feel like the entire African American community fails to see it, and the entire mainstream media deliberately ignores it. The important fact that George Zimmerman is not white. When I first saw his picture on the news, I could immediately tell that he was at least half Hispanic, or what some people may call Latino. After some digging, I found out Zimmerman has a Peruvian mother. Then, after some more digging, I found out that his father is from Jewish descent, explaining his Jewish last name of Zimmerman. I know from many Jewish people they do not consider themselves part of the white race or the black race or whatever. Many common Jewish people resemble more to Arab ethnics than the white Caucasian. Now, I see this picture of this half Jewish, half Hispanic guy on TV with headlines like "A white neighborhood watch shot a unarmed black teen." Every paper, every news channel, every internet movie, everywhere they talk about the white male murdering a black teen and police that does not arrest him. Biggest white on black violence media hype in years. I think the mainstream media intentionally falsely portrays George Zimmer as a white to juice up the story. I do not consider a guy with a Latina mother and a Jewish father to be white. I'm sorry. The media wants George to be white because it makes a good story. Don't you believe me? Let me prove it to you. After reading some articles, I came across some very interesting facts. First, I saw this interesting label used for Zimmerman. It's been used by the New York Times, Reuters, CNN, and countless other media outlets. George Zimmerman is described as a Hispanic white, or no, a white Hispanic. Initially, he was simply labeled Hispanic. Zimmerman's identity somehow morphed since then. This is because the national media does not do stories on black crime. They also don't do stories on black on white crime. The New York Times is almost a caricature of a liberal media, refers to George Zimmerman as a white Hispanic. I guarantee you that if George Zimmerman did something good, if he finished first in his high school graduation class when he was younger, they wouldn't refer to him as white Hispanic, but he'd just be Hispanic. He's only a white Hispanic because they need the word white to further the storyline, which is white, probably racist vigilante shoots an unarmed black kid. Also, looking at Zimmerman's pictures that were all over the news, I noticed something strange. It appears that Zimmerman's skin color looks a lot paler on the picture used by the news than the original mugshot of Zimmerman found online. It shows his skin to be at least a few tones darker. I think they showed the widest picture they could find of him and even brightened it up. Wonder why this picture was not shown on the news though, or why they didn't use this picture. That's right, because he obviously looks anything but white on these pictures. All that is left to say is that I think George Zimmerman is not white. I wish people had the balls and the brains to label him for what he is. A Latino Semite or a Hispanic Jew, whatever you want. I personally do not care for labeling people. But it's just so very frustrating to see how many people believe this crime was committed by a white supremacist. The media claiming he is white to create a juicy story, and the African American community buying that bullshit. Like I said, it might have very well been a racist murder. But newsflash, people, non-whites can be just as racist and violent as whites. Jewish people can be racist towards blacks. Hispanics can be racist towards blacks. And trust me, many are. For anyone claiming that Zimmerman is white because his father is a European Jew, all I can tell you is Jews have their own language, their own religion, their own culture, their own country, their own religious books, their own laws. They say they are the chosen people of God, meaning that they believe God favorites their Jewish race over other races. All this talk about chosen race and birthrights confirms that Jews do not consider themselves to belong to any race but the Jewish race. They are not white, they are not black, Asian, or whatever. They are Jewish. By the way, for the record, I have no problem with any Jews, and I am not anti-Semitic. The reason I believe Zimmerman was not arrested is because his father is a judge, or a former judge. This is much more helpful with avoiding prosecution than being white. Trust me. This is Illuminati, over and out.